Middlesex kick-started their Friends Life T20 season with an impressive 6-wicket victory over Hampshire as they chased down the 158 they needed to win with just 4 deliveries of the match in Southampton remaining. Toby Roland-Jones and Paul Stirling the heroes with their best T20 performances. Yet again, Neil Dexter lost the toss. He's on a terrible run with that, and that meant that Hampshire had a bat first. In their 2 previous games at Lords, the Panthers had started well with the ball, only to let things slip later on, but this time Michael Carberry and Jimmy Adams got their side off to a flyer. The first 6 of the match came off just the 11th ball, Adams whipping Stephen Crook over the rope as 17 came off the opening 2 overs. Stirling was given the 3rd over, but he was unable to keep the scoring down with 11 more coming off his 6 balls, while Roland-Jones soon discovered that Adams was able to find the boundary even if he was not exactly aiming to hit the ball past the bowler on this occasion. Middlesex badly needed a breakthrough and Roland-Jones supplied it with the 4th ball of over number 4. Adams bowled in a comprehensive manner to end a rapid opening stand of 32. Crucially, Roland-Jones then struck again in his next over as Carberry used the toe end of his bat to shovel the ball out to Crook in the deep. 3 balls later and Roland-Jones had his best figures in this competition as he also had Neil Mackenzie caught on the 45 by Rayner, the South African going without scoring. And when Sean Irvine lobbed a simple catch to Joe Denley in Tom Smith's first over, the home side had slipped to 53 for 4 at the end of the 8th over. Victorian Glenn Maxwell tried to refresh his side's innings by hitting Rayner back over his head for a huge 6. But after the debutant had made a quick-fire 15, he couldn't repeat the execution off Smith and found Crook on the boundary's edge at long off. James Vince had witnessed 4 wickets fall before he was able to really get going, but as the overs started to run out, he now had no option but to search out the boundary. He ruined Smith's figures a little by taking 12 off his last over, bringing up the 100 in the process in the 14th. Hampshire, the winners of this competition 2 years ago, knew that with Dimitri Mascarenhas now at the crease, there was the potential for fireworks in the last few overs. And he showed his capabilities by hitting Dexter for a maximum, using only one hand in the process. The wicket of Mascarenhas midway through the 18th over was absolutely crucial, and it was Roland-Jones who came back on to get it, the former England man departing for 21 at 127 for 6. In spite of Roland-Jones being struck for 4 by Kadir Ali off the penultimate delivery of his penultimate over, he still ended his spell with a very impressive analysis of 4 for 25. He couldn't remove Vince, however, who reached his half-century off his 42nd delivery. It was a classy innings from the youngster who was helping his side towards a challenging total in what was his team's first match of their campaign after their derby with Sussex last week was rained off. Vince celebrated his 50 in style by uppercutting Gareth Berg for a 6 as the Royals made 157 for 6 from their 20 overs, Vince finishing on a fine 64. It looked as if the home side may well be able to add to their very impressive run of 11 successive wins at home in this competition. Middlesex altered their top order with Chris Rogers joining Denley, and it was the Australian who got off to the better start of the 2 as he hit Mascarenhas for successive 4s to end the first over. 9 runs came off that. But the Panthers were soon up against it after Denley was unlucky to be bowled by Ali in the 2nd over. And Rogers followed in the next by punching a ball from Mascarenhas to Irvine at mid-off. Middlesex were 2 down with only 18 runs on the board. Given the manner of their 2 defeats in their first 2 games, it would have been easy for heads to drop, but instead Stirling belted Ali into the stands. The decision to drop Dexter Malan down to number 4 was soon looking to pay dividends too, as he was soon playing his shots. His timing and placement were out of the top drawer, as proved by these strokes. He was still able to go for the big shots as well, as David Griffiths discovered. While Stirling kept the momentum with his side by dispatching Danny Briggs over the ropes in the next over, the 10th, by the end of which Middlesex had made 83 for 2. So a further 75 were required off the final 10, and this is where the Panthers have let the game go in the last couple of games. Not this time, however, as both Malan and Stirling kept up with the rate, bringing up the 100 in the 13th over. A swept single off the last ball of the 13th took Stirling to his fantastic 50, which had occupied only 36 deliveries and had included 5 fours and 2 sixes. Building partnerships has been the problem thus far this year in the T20, but by the time Malan drilled Griffiths to Adams at cover to go for 46, this pair had added a crucial 107 runs in 13.5 overs. But it again looked as if the Panthers may miss out when Stirling, on a T20 best of 71 made from just 49 deliveries, picked out carb in the deep to leave Middlesex wanting 23 to win off 21 balls with 2 new batsmen at the crease. Importantly, Berg got going immediately by hitting his first ball for 4, and both batsmen showed a lot of urgency in their running between the wickets. Such things always kept Middlesex ahead of the game towards the death. So only 5 were needed off the last 7 balls, and Dexter ensured that his side would start the final over as certain victors by driving Griffiths for a crucial boundary. With the field in, Berg couldn't score off the first ball of the final over, but to the second he dug a delivery from Ali out to find the gap to take Middlesex past their target with 4 balls remaining. It was a hugely significant victory in what is already a very tight South group, and it's one which will give Middlesex a lot of confidence, knowing that they can chase down targets as they go into their next match against Essex at Lords on Thursday. The last time cricket is played at the ground by Middlesex at least until August the 27th.